Oh. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to some of you, depending on where you are watching from. You are welcome to this program. While you are joining, share this video, invite other people to join. While you are joining this program, share this video and alert others to join. Very, very important. We're not going to take long on this broadcast because we are going to go straight to the point. We are live and direct. We are live on YouTube. My apologies. I am 14 minutes late, and it is 14 minutes on top of the hour, regardless of where you are watching from. We are live. We are here this afternoon to continue to actually expose the activities of the agent provocateur who is touching everywhere and anywhere that he can to just disorganize the activities of IPOB, and now it is the legal team. We are also going to be touching base with the activities of the UK court on the extraordinary rendition of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. We're going to be, checking out the report from the UK court on the extraordinary rendition case of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. And what I am here to do this afternoon or evening, morning, depending on where you are watching from, I want to show you how this agent provocateur will always lie to you. First of all, there is a video that I am going to show you. Before we go to the UK, court, I want to show you something. And we are also going to be touching on the Attorney General Malami, his activities, the insult he is bringing upon himself. The insult he is bringing upon himself with regards to disobeying the court order. We are going to be talking about that. First of all, there is an interview. There is an interview that happened where people were being asked about the decision of the Attorney General and the decision of Nigeria and their court. People made so many important statements, media statements, with regards to the activities of the Attorney General Malami, who decided to undermine the activities of the Nigeria judiciary, which we are going to be talking about it as well. First of all, before we go anywhere, let us go to the UK. Let us go to the UK. Let us go to the UK. Decision, their court proceedings that happened on the 15th of November with regards to the hearing on the case of extraordinary rendition of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Let me bring that news. Let us actually read the news first before we proceed. High Court considers argument on UK inaction on brazen and violent extradition, extraordinary rendition of British citizen Nnamdi Kanu. The hearing in the Judicial Review challenge against the Foreign Secretary brought on behalf of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu took place yesterday, 15th November 2022. Mr. Kanu is the British national leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB in a bracket, a group that calls for self-determination for Biafra land. In June 2021 rather, he was abducted from the airport in Nairobi, Kenya by the Nigeria Security Services and was detained and tortured for around 10 days in Kenya. He was then flown blindfolded on a private plane to Nigeria. For the past 18 months, he has been held in solitary confinement in a cell at the Nigeria Intelligence Agency's quarters in Abuja, Nigeria. Mr. Kanu had traveled to Kenya on his British passport, the only travel document that he holds. Since his detention in Nigeria, Mr. Kanu's family have been asking the British government to take steps to secure his release on the ground there was no lawful basis for bringing him to Nigeria, and he was therefore subject to extraordinary rendition. Mr. Kanu's family have also argued that his ongoing detention is arbitrary. However, the Foreign Secretary has to date failed to reach a firm view on whether Mr. Kanu was subject to extraordinary rendition. The family's legal team brought the challenge on the basis that reaching a firm view is necessary to lawfully determine what steps should be taken to assist Mr. Kanu. Who is this family legal team? We are going to find out. During the hearing yesterday, Charlotte Killory, Casey, acting for Mr. Kanu's brother, Kingsley Kanu, highlighted that Mr. Kanu has been the victim of a brazen and violent extraordinary rendition. I want you to note this place down. Lawyer representing Kanu's brother. She noted that this is not the first time that the Nigeria government has tried to harm Mr. Kanu. In September 2017, when he was at his home in Nigeria, the Nigerian military launched a violent raid on his house, attempting to kill him and killing 28 of the IPOB in the process. She cited a Nigeria court judgment in which the judge described the Nigeria government agents as setting out as pythons to terminate the life of Mr. Kanu. She then outlined the overwhelming evidence that Mr. Kanu has been subject to extraordinary rendition, nothing that the Nigeria government itself has admitted in domestic proceedings, that it transferred Mr. Kanu to Nigeria without any lawful warrant for arrest nor any extradition process. Moreover, the Nigeria Court of Appeal ruled that Mr. Kanu was subjected to extraordinary rendition, a position that the Federal Court of Nigeria subsequently adopted. She explained that given the danger Mr. Kanu faces from a regime that has already made clear its willingness to use brute force to kill or harm him, and since he is a British citizen abducted whilst traveling on a British passport in a third country, it it is incumbent on the British government to assist him. She referred the court to domestic policies that evidence a acceptance a clear acceptance by the British government that it has a role in protecting its citizens abroad. Where there is evidence of a miscarriage of justice and various instances in which the British government has publicly condemned the action of other states, called for the release of its citizens where they have been arbitrarily detained abroad. She argued that the evidence of Mr. Kano's rendition has been clear and overwhelming some for some time. In spite of this, there has been a wholesale failure by the British government to reach a view on whether Mr. Kano is a victim of extraordinary rendition. He explained that reaching such a view is indisputably necessary in order to lawfully determine what steps should be taken to assist Mr. Kano. A proper decision-making process is especially vital given that Mr. Kano's health is failing in detention and 18 months have passed since his initial detention. In response, Sir James Eddy KC, acting on behalf of the Foreign Secretary, stated that reaching a firm view on whether Mr. Khan was subject to extraordinary rendition was a matter of foreign policy in which the court must not interfere. There was no legal basis for the court to require the Foreign Secretary to reach a view, and that Mr. Kano's challenge was pointless. Following the hearing, the parties are now waiting for the court to provide its ruling. Okay, there is something written here also that say it is well known that the Nigeria court heavily influenced by the Nigeria government. However, they have been brave enough to take a firm stand and rule that my brother was subject to extraordinary rendition at the hands of the Nigeria government. If the Nigeria court can do this, it is not clear to me what further evidence the British government need to reach a firm view. I hope that the UK will now require for the Foreign Secretary to reach a firm view. Okay, this is actually the result from the court proceedings in the UK on Mazen Nnamdi Kano's extraordinary rendition. Just like you may all know that in the British law, British has a mandate of protecting every of her citizen in and outside Britain and outside Europe or even in the third countries. They have that mandate to protect their citizen. It is, it is within their policy that they protect the British citizens, regardless of where they are, they must be protected. Their right cannot be violated. But the problem is, in this case scenario, we are understanding it that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, when it comes to Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, because maybe because he's a black person, or maybe because perhaps he's a Biafran, that is the reason why that the British law is not actually protecting him, because this is exactly what it says that the law bends for some people, and this is evidence that British practice inequality, because in this regard, motion has been raised, several claims has been made. Even Nigeria court has, accepted that due to the extraordinary rendition of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, he cannot be tried in any court of law in Nigeria, that they do not have that jurisdiction, that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu should be bundled back where they brought him from, because Nigeria has no jurisdiction to further the case or the matter in court. Now, it has been more than 18 months that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has been in the DSS solitary confinement without committing any crime. Rather, an act of terrorism was acted against him. And in this regard, court has discharged and acquitted him, yet he was not released. And British High Commission, which the commissioner is Catriona Lang, is in Nigeria. She can attest to all this that is going on, because I don't see any foreign policy that need to play out here, because in the terms, okay, I see foreign policy has to come in. I don't see any further investigation, rather, or deep-rooted investigation, because British have their own envoy in Nigeria, which they can investigate and do whatever they want to do in Nigeria. If they were able to announce that there is a terrorist, potential terrorist activities in Abuja, and they made that decision and they made that call, I believe they can as well make a call that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was extraordinary rendition, instead of actually delaying the process where Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's health is deteriorating and he's been in a solitary confinement with, illegally in the past 18 months. So if British High Commission, or if British as a nation care for every of her citizens, not some of their citizens, I believe the intervention supposed to have been made in order to rescue Mazen Nnamdi Kanu from the hands of the enemy who want to devour him, because what they want is to devour him. They want to rip him off. They want to, rip him apart, because he is believing in self-determination, which is the biggest fear of Nigeria, because Nigeria is a lawless country that want to keep the 200 million together, so that they will continue to violate their rights, because it is in their absolute pleasure to violate the rights of ordinary people, and then most especially when they're in high number. Because if you look around you, you will not see the reason why Nigeria is declining as separation or disintegration. Because if you look around you, the inflation rate today is over 20 marks. Now, it means that Nigeria is a failed state. If you check Nigeria, currency to dollar, you will understand that the currency is very weak next to dollar. That means it is a failed state. The failure of the country actually started with the amalgamation, then come to the time where they start grooming terrorism, they start sponsoring terrorism. That is an evidence of a failed nation. Now, in this regard, they can no longer make a decision for 200 and over 200 million people, because they have no competency to make decisions for their own people in their own families. Talk more of making a decision for 200 million people, and that is overwhelming them. And we cannot continue to live together in the name that it will be okay tomorrow while things continue to get worse by the day. That is the reason why we have called to leave Nigeria in peace. Does not mean that if they want to do it in pieces, we are not ready to engage, because we will do everything we can to leave Nigeria. It is not our land. We don't belong to Nigeria. Meanwhile, the experiment of Lugard from Britain, it has expired immediately when it became 1 century, because the experiment was meant to last for 1 century. Now, prior to 1914, up until date, it is more than 1 century plus many years, if not a century and five, or almost a century and a decade. So we have endured enough. Now it is time for us to go home and go back to our land where God has given us. And we are going there. There is no power that is going to stop us from, exiting Nigeria, because we have made up our mind that we can no longer stay with people who does not actually want to use their eyes to see us. They want to kill us. They want to marginalize us. They actually don't see us as, human beings. They see us as animals that need to be exploited, that need to be killed. That is the reason why SARS, when you hear about SARS, it happened in our land. Every atrocious behaviors, every atrocities you heard in Nigeria, it all happened in our land. Police brutality in our land never happened in the northern Nigeria. So that is the reason why Ojukwu stopped this language in 1967. That Noya Juraya Manjo, he that is rejected cannot reject themselves. And we are ready to exit Nigeria. And it is a tax. It is a tax that must be done. Now, there is something I was reading in this article that I just read. And it is about Canon Takano. Because if the case of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is becoming a family business or a family case, I believe that Canon Takano should also be bringing money from his pocket to actually furnish those cases. Because I expect I have different, I don't know if we are, I will even coming out clear. I will coming out clear. I hope we are coming out clear. And because, okay, let me find out. Okay, we are there. You know why I am saying this? Because we have, I've come across different channels of this article where I am trying to find out where it says that IPOB or any other thing. Now, when it talks about IPOB and their collective, effort to actually fight for the release of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, including internationally and locally in Nigeria. Now, when I am actually seeing something that is involving Canon Takano, it says family, lawyer representing Canon Takano. That is the reason why I told you to write this side, note that area. if indeed Canon Takano is going to, represent Mazen Nnamdi Kanu as a family or as Canon Takano, I believe that he is not supposed to use IPOB fund, so that tomorrow he will not come and say that IPOB fund was used in lobbying, IPOB fund was used in using for international lawyer that was, taking care of the court in Britain. The reason why I am saying it is that you cannot be actually working in Jericho and you are taking salary in Damascus. If you want to say that the IPOB family is pushing the case, to understand the reason why this is happening and this is not happening, it will make more sense and it will actually add more value to the case. But because they will understand it is not about the family only, it is about a nation that is pursuing this cause. And they will know that there are millions of people involved in that regard. But in the event where Canon Takano will go and place himself, and they say lawyer representing Canon Takano, not lawyer representing IPOB, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense, because this is a collective, supposed to be a collective effort. This is supposed to be a collective move. It is IPOB family, not Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's family. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is no longer only Kinsele's brother only. He is brother and, he is brother, mentor, father to many of Biafrans. So in a situation whereby somebody is going, each and every day I read an article about the case in the UK, it will be talking about Canon Takano. Canon Takano, where are you getting the fund to fund those lawyers? That each and every day you place yourself in every response from any institution. It is a very, very important question we need to start asking this guy. Because anything that concerns your brother, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, he was on a quest to actually save the whole Biafrans and even indigenous people of Nigeria. So this case is not supposed to be your personal case, or the personal or case that is supposed to be a family business. It is our business. It is our fight. It is not yours only. Because the finance that is going towards this case, it is collective. It is not your personal fund. That is the reason why, I am actually talking about this, because there are things, most of the time, we need to do the right thing. All the time. If you cannot do the right thing, or doing the wrong thing at the wrong time, or the right thing at the wrong time, it actually does not make sense. And my mind is telling me there is something that is, you placing yourself each and every day. Because you don't live in UK, number one. You don't live in UK. If eventually you are traveling to come to court in UK, it means that you are on a fund of IPOB. So the representatives you have, or you claim that is yours in UK, it is IPOB. So tell whoever that is writing or interviewing you after or during the court proceedings in the UK to write it IPOB family. It will make more sense. It will make more sense. You are not a UK citizen. If you are a UK citizen fighting for this cause in the name that UK need to actually, intervene in that matter, it will make more sense. If you put IPOB is registered in UK. It is an organization challenging UK law, not you as an individual. You as an individual, you cannot do it. So stop taking glory while other people are working. Thank you. I am going to leave it here. So great Biafrans all over the world, we are going to go into more pressing things. Of course, you know the current plans and activities of this agent provocateur, who is also now attacking the legal team. There is something I want to bring to you that he said. And I want to remind you what he said here. He made a claim against Barr Ejiofor. He made a claim against Barr Ejiofor here. And that claim is what I am here to talk about. That claim only is what I am going to talk about here. Then we call it a day because I don't have much time. But we're going to talk about. Let us hear that claim. Pay very good attention. Okay, I think let's pick it up from Facebook. Was I supposed to? Okay. Listen attentively to what he said here.
The 14th of November 2021, President Ekpa tweeted something about legal team. I want to make it very clear. I am not attacking legal team. I am attacking the role in legal team. I'm not attacking legal team. Legal team comprises of Mike Zukomen. Legal team comprises of Aloy Jimako.
That is.
Legal team comprises of other lawyers. I'm not attacking the legal team.
Okay.
I am attacking Barr Ejiofor. Ejiofor as a person who have betrayed Mazi Nnamdi Kanu with impunity and Biafra by extension. That is the person I am attacking now on social media. So when they come to tell you someone is attacking a legal team, I'm not attacking a legal team. What I'm saying is that Barr Ejiofor must stop sabotaging Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Biafra by dropping the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and hand over to the lead counsel or hand over to any of the lawyer there, because he has not done anything. The only thing he does is to have secret meetings with the politicians who Mazi Nnamdi Kanu don't want to see. And then after that, he will go to the forest and use machete to cut, and they will shout, he'll come out to say who is cutting. So Barr Ejiofor has been deceiving Biafrans. Each court, he will come and give statements. So let us go and read what Barr Ejiofor has done today, and I'm going to explain it to you, Biafra people. Without wasting time, you are looking at Barr Ejiofor's post today. This is Barr Ejiofor's post. Barr Ejiofor posted breaking. done and dusted. Nisi Onyendu, Nisi Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, done and dusted, and all these illiterate are sharing Ejiofor done and dusted. You are going to be shocked today. Ejiofor say done and dusted. The court, per his lordship, Honorable Justice Binta Nyako, is in agreement with us that it lacks jurisdiction to entertain any further charge against Onyendu, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, in view of the landmark judgment of the Court of Appeal. Are you listening? The matter was consequently adjourned, sine pending the outcome of the appeal at the Supreme Court. I want you people to listen to this. A man who say he is a lawyer in Nigeria is telling you what the court have said, that the court said they don't have jurisdiction to try or entertain any further charge against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and then consequently adjourned. What Ejiofor did not tell you here is that this particular adjournment was indefinitely.
Thank you very much, Chukwado, no voice. Thank you very much. So, great Biafrans, I want to talk about here now, where he talked about the adjournment of the High Court indefinitely. You know, the problem that so many of you are having is problem of English. And sometimes this infiltrator, the chief provocateur, he knows that the reason why he is very, very confident in actually saying whatever he is saying right now, because he is well aware that Barrister Ejiofor will not have time come and entertain his rubbish, his stupidity. He is well aware that that time will not come. That is the reason why he knows that whatever he is saying right now is on one side. And that's why he will continue to do, exercise his madness, his stupidity. But where I want to touch on right now and make it clear is where he said, Barrister Ejiofor said, done and dusted. And he gets told and said, Nisi Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Okay. Now I want you to understand. When he talks about a court of High Court being adjourned, you don't need to be a rocket lawyer to understand exactly what that means. You see that write-up that this criminal read? You don't need to be a rocket lawyer or even a judge to understand the meaning of it. Now, the case started in High Court, Abuja, right? Now, the case ended in the appeal court. Nigeria government, because they are playing games, they brought it back to the lower court. Now, just for a delay strategy, the lower court now gave their own take on this case. That the case, they have agreed that the case has no jurisdiction because the lower court can never ever challenge the activities of the higher court. And the lower court, having seen that the case is already in the Supreme Court of Appeal, they don't have that jurisdiction to entertain that case further. Therefore, they have to say the case will be adjourned. The reason why the criminal here told you the case is adjourned indefinitely, because he knows that when he says that, you will be in a panic mode, you will lose it, you will be saying, no, you are right. But he did not tell you that High Court cannot entertain a case that is already in a Supreme Court. It is only if the reason why the adjournment must be indefinitely, it is because the Supreme Court can say, take this case back to the lower court and solve it there. Or you can take it back to the Court of Appeal. The order of the Supreme Court matters in the case. So, indefinitely does not mean that lower court, because the case started in lower court. Lower court will wait for the decision of the Supreme Court. When the Supreme Court make their pronouncement, lower court will now remove themselves from the case, knowing that the case has been won and it is against the federal government. So remember, they said that there was 7 count charges in the High Court. And at the end of the day, they looked for it. There was no, they didn't see it. And now the judge there said there is no jurisdiction for this case, which means, because number 1, appeal court rule over it. Number 2, the case is already in the Supreme Court waiting for the hearing. In the higher court, which is apex, Supreme Court is apex court, which no court can challenge the activities of Supreme Court. So now, how do you tell High Court to entertain it? Or how do you appreciate it that High Court will now say, we have discharged this case and acquitted it, without respecting or waiting to hear from the Supreme Court judgment? Is that not stupidity? Now you say that the criminal who is educating you on adjournment indefinitely here, who claims he is a lawyer in Finland, is not able to tell you that the case cannot be closed by lower court because the case is already in the higher court. It is the decision of a higher court that will determine the decision of the lower court. That's why the case must be adjourned indefinitely. It is that simple. It is that simple. The idiot knows that no one will have time to come and educate him like this, except if people like me, Judge Money, decide to educate the uneducated agent provocateur in Finland who claims he knows law, but he is and he is an illiterate. An illiterate, a common sense will explain and analyze what I just told you right now. Common sense is all you need in that regard. You don't need to be a lawyer or a legal practitioner to understand it. So him saying that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's case has been adjourned indefinitely, it can always be adjourned indefinitely because it is already stated, situated in a higher court. Lower court does not have jurisdiction to make decisions in that case anymore. So they will wait for the higher court, the apex court, which is Supreme Court of Appeal. That decision will now tell lower court, this case is done and dusted. Now get over it. Do you get the point now? Very, very simple. It is that simple. So now let us continue to hear from the illiterate who is educating you, who is your smoke person. Let us continue to listen to him.
Now, what Ejiofor is not telling you here is that why would a court who don't have jurisdiction to try a case will now adjourn the case? So if Ejiofor is claiming that Binta don't have jurisdiction to try Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's case, why then is she adjourning it? And people are clapping and shouting. I'm going to make a very big exposition today on Ejiofor.
So we have seen how big and how stupid. I hope you are seeing how big and how stupid his exposition is today. How big and how stupid, senseless. That is exactly what you are listening to. A person who claims that he is into legal practices, he's into legal field, does not understand this common analysis to give it to you. What does that entail? I have told you time without number that this guy, there is never any truth coming out of his mouth because he is uninformed. All he does is to formulate a lie. The only thing he is very good at is to formulate a lie, to sell it to you, and now you will go and start wondering. You will be living in your wonderland. And this is what destroys the mindset of a black man. When they always create something like look like a truth, present it to you. When they present it to you, garnish it with all sort of manipulative lies and deceit. Now you will be in confessional conference. You will be saying it could be true, but that is true. That is what you will be saying yourself until you get carried away. And you will now start judging whom you're supposed to be blessing or praising. And I want to tell you also that Kanu Ntakanu is behind all this shenanigan that is going on. He is behind all this shenanigan that is going on. I have told Simon Ekpa, when he is selling all these lies, all this his cheap lies and manipulation, cheap deceit, or cheap blackmail, rather, you should look around to understand there are intelligent people who are watching. Just like the autopilot, one of their criminals made a fake UN ID card wearing a hat without knowing, actually proudly showing it online. What you show online, you have shown it to the world. It is like throwing a stone in the marketplace without knowing who is going to get on the crossfire. That is exactly what these people are doing. They are doing trying and error all the time. Trying and error. Now there is another thing he said, I believe, in this broadcast that I want to touch on. Once I educate you, Biafrans, and remind you exactly what that thing is all about, because every other thing he said here, they are all fallacies.
So if Binta Nyako don't have the jurisdiction to entertain Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case again, why is she adjoining it? Why is she adjoining a case that she don't have jurisdiction to try?
I believe I have educated
I want
you
people to understand the game Barr Ejiofor has played against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Jurisdiction to entertain a case. She also do not have this. People have disgraced Biafra.
Let's go.
They come and share it. Another landmark victory. Why would it be another landmark victory? When a court judge told you, I do not have jurisdiction to try this case, what business again does the judge have to adjourn the case?
Okay. That is, okay, say what you want to say. Indefinitely. Okay. That is the English that when he's speaking to you, you start shivering. The case started in Binta Nyaku's table. And Binta Nyaku sent the case to Court of Appeal. Right? Binta Nyaku did not actually rule the case. Sent it to Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal ruled the case and discharged and acquitted the client. Federal government, because federal government, they interfere with Nigeria judiciary, it is not independent and it does not function normally, which after the Court of Appeal ruling, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is supposed to have been wherever he needs to be, like a free bird, and this case is finished. Because Nigeria government now took back the case to the lower court. That's when, you know, they went to represent again to see what is going on in the lower court. Then Binta Nyaku said, I don't have jurisdiction in this case. And having seen that Binta Nyaku and her court is being controlled by the executives, Binta Nyaku cannot come and tell you now, this case is done and dusted. Binta Nyaku cannot tell you now that this case has been discharged and acquitted. It is like making a decision. It is like a governor making a nation decision when the president is there. If a governor, a case is brought on top of the table of a governor, when the case is already taken to the president, and waiting for president to make a pronouncement on that, and people now came to listen to the governor, governor will say, this case is already with the president, so I don't have jurisdiction on this case. So we are waiting for the president to make a pronouncement, then we will know what to do. Meanwhile, this case is adjourned till further notice. Further notice means that when the president make a pronouncement in this case, then that is the end of the further notice. Automatically. So it is that simple. So let me forward this to actually where I am looking for. I'm looking for something else.
But the activity of Biafra Liberation Group and movement are going to be the paradigm shift. You know, in this freedom.
Okay, paradigm shift.
So I have made a point, right?
Okay.
I have made a point.
There is no
My point is that Justice Binta Nyako that said she did not have jurisdiction to try the case. I found the case indefinitely.
Wow.
What it means is that she has I don't have the right, the power, the jurisdiction to try and do again. So therefore, take this thing out of my office.
Wow. Okay, let's continue.
But Mr. Ejiofor did not tell Justice Peter Nyako, since you don't have jurisdiction to try Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, why should you now adjourn a case?
Because this is a lawyer talking. Don't forget that this is a proclaimed lawyer, self-proclaimed lawyer talking. This is a so-called lawyer talking. He said he's a lawyer in Finland talking. A lawyer talking jargon. Let us continue.
That you don't have jurisdiction to try. If you do not have jurisdiction and you have will be done and dusted, how can Ejiofor come and tell illiterate that the case has been adjourned and it is to Ejiofor?
Remember that illiterate is the first one to call others illiterate, because it is in his ignorance and in his illiteracy that this guy cannot understand this simple analysis I just gave you. But let us proceed. There is something I'm looking for.
That Aloy Ejimako did not enter the court of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to see how to do it for almost 1 year.
Okay, now
he fought every person that called to help Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. He fought Aloy Ejimako.
Okay.
He fought Mike Ezekome. He fought everybody. He fought Bruce.
Did you hear that? Did you hear the extent a lie of an illiterate can go? Barrister Ejiofor brought Michael Ezekome in. Simon Ekpa said that Barrister Ejiofor fought Michael Ezekome. Barrister Ejiofor fought Aloy Ejimako. Barrister Ejiofor fought Bruce Finn. Now, let us nullify all these things with one evidence. If Barrister Ejiofor brought Michael Ezekome, how can he go and fight Michael Ezekome? It nullifies he fought. Now let me show you something that will trigger your mind to remember something. We are going to, I believe, February 2022. There is a video I am about to show you, February 2022, so that you will understand. I want, when I show you that video, you will remember an exposition that was done on that day by Simon Ekpa. Listen to this video. This was the video on the day that they deprived Ejimako entering of the court in February. They declined Ejimako from entering the court after he made progress in Umuahia. The DSS declined Ejimako from accessing the court. And now you will understand that Emmanuel Kanu was there asking question, why is Ejimako not in court? Why is Ejimako not in court? If you will remember and understand vividly, I was always fighting for this Kanu Kanu and his brother Emmanuel Kanu. I did exposition, but because of their late, activities, I actually don't pay attention to their activities anymore. Remember, in this video you are seeing, Simon Ekpa made a broadcast saying that Emmanuel Kanu was talking to the judge to postpone the case. That Emmanuel Kanu was making a phone call to tell them to adjourn the case. That Emmanuel Kanu, I want you to watch this video, then you will recall that broadcast. You will recall that broadcast. This is when they said they refused Ejimako's entering into the court. And while you are remembering the, the video that, or, program that Simon Ekpa made, calling Emmanuel Kanu criminal in this video, that he is calling Nigeria agent to tell them to postpone the case. Even Kingsley Kanu will remember this. Even all of them, all you autopilot will remember this day. I want you to pay attention to this video, and you will remember that.
No, it's not correct. Even if there are lawyers, it doesn't matter. It is the judge that will not fair. I remember last time when I wanted to make rent more than 5. He said no. So even if we have to come to do, why you not for the judge to say you can announce the 21? It's my prerogative as the lead counsel to announce my team. Nobody can take that from me. So that nobody shall do that. Exactly. Nobody.
I want you to watch Emmanuel Kanu asking Michael Zokome, why is Ejimako outside? Michael Zokome even said that the DSS actually tried to stop him also, that he is going to ask the judge. Just look for it in this video. Look for it.
So, why can't I want him to come in. No, take this thing easy. Nobody is stopping anybody. Even me, they have been stopping me and Ejiofor for more than 5 minutes.
Did you hear that? This was loud and clear. That even him, Mike, they were stopping him. That is what Simon Ekpa is saying, that Barr Ejiofor stops Mike Ejimako from accessing the court. But the same day this thing happened, he said that Emmanuel Kanu was making call to tell the Nigeria government to adjourn the case. That he's making a call to tell Nigeria government to adjourn the case. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Now today, he has changed it. He is changing it to tell you now that it was Barr Ejiofor who now made Mike Ejimako not to get into the court. Remember, Ejimako got case in Umuahia and get court to rule that the Nigeria government should give Mazen Nnamdi Kanu 1 billion naira for compensation. The DSS was not happy with Barr Ejimako. They refused him entrance from accessing the court. Now, that is exactly what they were discussing here. Now, at some point, you might see Kingsley Kanu putting phone on his ears. That's when Simon said that he is calling them to adjourn the case. Listen to this.
This lawyer was brought to the bar together with me on the same day. It's now the donor that did I will point it out to the court. Oh, my brother, let the judge know.
Did you see it here? Did you see it here? This is where Michael Zokome went to the judge, telling that the judge know that one of their lawyer was stopped outside. They didn't allow him entry. Now, this is also exactly where you find it that Simon Ekpa said that Emmanuel Kanu put phone to call to tell them to adjourn the case. Because what he does is to always try to use lies to indict other people. Always try to use lies to intimidate other people. Always try to use lies to scuttle every hard work done by other people. That's what he does, because he never done anything beneficial to this struggle. He never done anything positive towards this struggle. All he does is to steal money from this struggle, is to exploit people in this struggle, to give you empty promises, to create lies and manipulation, to actually instigate other people. That is the reason why he is called an agent of urgent provocateur. That is what he is good at, and that is exactly what he has been doing ever since Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped in Kenya, because he is not working for the struggle. He is working for the agendist. Pay attention. Have you seen, if anybody has that video where Simon Ekpa made that, did that program, saying that it is where Kanu Kanu's brother, or Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's brother, was actually calling for this court to be adjourned. That person should forward it to me. If you have that video, I was actually looking for that video. I couldn't find it. My old laptop was not with me. I believe it is there, but I need that video. I need it at, if you remember that video, it is around February 2022. That was when that video was done. I was so busy today, I couldn't trace back that video. But I know if I had that video, this thing will make more sense. But I will still look for it. But at least many of you will indeed remember that exposition where he said that Kanu's brother was trying to call the judge to actually adjourn the case. That's why he put phone on his ears. Then I made a broadcast and I said to you that it was not because he is trying to call anybody, that Ejimako was locked out by the DSS, that he is asking why is Ejimako not in court. That was the broadcast I made in that regard. And maybe I will look for that broadcast. I will play it again this evening. That I can do. I can play it again this evening. Then you will collect it from there. So now let's go back to the criminal who continue to manipulate you with lies and deceit. Let's hear from him.
He made sure that our Ejimako did not enter the court of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu to sit. I want people to recollect what has happened in the past.
That's what I told you.
Alhaji Ejimako went to Abuja and the DSS stopped him from entering the court. Ejiofor facilitated it.
Now, listen
He
to the
told
line.
me.
He said Ejiofor told him. Ejiofor told him. He said Ejiofor told him. For you to see how deceitful this criminal is. When was my interview with Barrister Ejiofor? When was this guy start fighting Barrister Ejiofor? It was actually, for you to know that this guy is a liar. This incident took place in February. In February. This incident took place in February. That's when this incident took place. And I interviewed Barrister Ejiofor, I believe in February as well. In February. So where did he tell Simon Ekpa? Where did he, or where could he have told Simon Ekpa that he locked Ejimako outside? Where is the proof? Same way this criminal claimed that Barrister Ejiofor called him on, and they have a communication. They had a communication with Barrister Ejiofor. He said Barrister Ejiofor told him that he locked Aloy Ejimako outside. When him and his Oyibo and all that sent Bruce Fein, and he claimed that Barrister Ejiofor locked Bruce Fein off from accessing the court, from accessing Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. When this shenanigan of them and Bruce Fein started in Simon Ekpa's platform, if this Barrister Ejiofor locked Bruce Fein outside, and let's say that they are still in communication with Simon Ekpa in 2021, is Simon not supposed to be furious? Because Bruce Fein is the one of the face that they brought to use them to manipulate Biafrans. They use Bruce Fein. And you can even go to Simon Ekpa's platform. As out within 8-9 months ago, you will see Bruce Fein there. So Bruce Fein was what they used, him and Oyibo Nelly and others, to go and see what is going on, what Mazen Nnamdi Kanu knows. And now they claim that Ejiofor locked Bruce Fein out, but told him that he locked Ejimako out also. Is that not an irony? Does it make sense? Does it make sense? He told you he locked Ejimako out, while you claim that he locked Bruce Fein out, which you people sent. If it makes sense to you, it does not make sense to me. If he told you, where is the evidence? He told you, yet when Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's little brother was asking about Ejimako, you said that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's little brother was trying to make a phone call for the court to be adjourned. And I came out to the way I came out to educate the illiterate about the activities of lower court and higher court. I am having allergy here. So now, the same way that I am actually here educating him, that was how I educated him that day, to tell him the activities of what is going on in that court that day. It is about Ejimako. How did he tell you, but you did not know what was going on in the court, even though you can hear their voices talking about it in this video that I played? You can hear the voices talking about where is Ejimako. They stop me, San Ozokome said they stop him, that he will ask the judge. You heard everything. And he now twisted it. Let's say he told you, then why did you now come and say that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's little brother was calling for the court to be adjourned because He does not want his brother to come out. So that means that you are an agent of blackmail. Agent of blackmail. If he told you, why then do you have to come and lie? And say that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu brother want to make the case to be adjourned. Very simple question that need an answer.
He told me that
The lies of this criminal agent provocateur.
Aloy Ejiofor will never enter that court. He did it.
Wow. He told you. He told you.
That is another bombshell today.
This is how Chike Doziem and China Samoru traveled to Nigeria to go and drive jeep. After selling Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Who told you that one? Or maybe Barr Ejiofor also. You see, this is how this guy formulates a lie. When he see that you are a best character, to pin this lie, to link you to this lie, he bring you in. He is very good at that. Chief blackmailer. Chief blackmailer. That's what he does. And the earlier you understand it, the better for you. And I am not going to further this broadcast because I have, there is some air freshener here that is giving me allergy. I am allergic to something. I am allergic to here, so it is actually disturbing my throat. So I am going to actually bring back this program. I will bring back this program because what I did here, it is just an intro towards this program. I still have many things to cover, but I cannot proceed with this program. I am going to return for this program. It is very, very important because this program, it is a program that will expose this criminal thoroughly in his lies and manipulations. But wait for that. If not tomorrow, then the next tomorrow. But I must come back to this program. But until we meet again, stay safe, stay informed. Bye for now.